For a long time now, glitches would always be an occurring phenomena that many games would fall victim to. Though many of them can bring about a new experience, or even bring a little more life into a game that not many people play anymore, there are those which would be abused online by people in order to gain a victory against others. In this video, we'll look back at two of these glitches, with one of them not even having been fixed by the game company. On December 1st, 2011, Nintendo would release Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS. It was the third Mario Kart game to have a full online mode, allowing you to race against other people across the globe. The previous games in the series that had internet capabilities would by this point be ravaged by online hackers, making the game not as fun to play. For a while, this new title wouldn't really receive this treatment to that degree, but it wouldn't have to, as soon enough some glitches would be found that could help those in the know skip a large portion of these tracks, leaving everyone else scratching their heads in confusion. There were three main courses in Mario Kart 7 that had this issue: Woohoo Loop, Maka Woohoo, and GBA Bowser Castle 1. With these glitches, players were able to fall out of bounds in certain spots, where upon being rescued by Lakitu would actually put you much further ahead in the course than where you were, as the game's inner lap counting system would think you had passed more invisible checkpoints than you did. The way most Mario Kart lap counting systems work is by having the player pass through a series of checkpoints to make sure you're going the right way across the track, and once you clear them all, you'll be able to complete the lap once you pass the finish line. Though what probably didn't help was the fact that two of the courses that had this problem were using a new segment-based system, where you'd have to pass all three different finish lines in order to complete the race, rather than running around the track 3 times. It may have made things a bit more complicated, especially when people, who were tired of the advantage takers, were begging Nintendo to try and fix the issue. But reportedly, Nintendo didn't even have any plans to fix this. In an email sent by the then active gaming publication Stick Twiddlers, they would receive a response from Nintendo themselves stating that they weren't planning on patching these online glitches out, as doing so would create an unfair advantage for the users of the original release of the game, though they would end up changing their minds anyway some months later. Granted, those that wanted to have a fair environment could have always learned the trick themselves, but this update that would come at least made online games more fair when it came to playing it normally. But what about the time when Nintendo tried to fix a big glitch people were using online, but couldn't? For that, we'll have to take a look at Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Super Mario Odyssey was Nintendo's big 3D Mario sandbox-style adventure for the Nintendo Switch. But for the longest time, its online mode was plagued with people using a glitch that would allow them to clip through walls. News articles were made documenting how bad it had gotten, with the general consensus being that it destroyed the online competition. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, let's go back to when this game was first released. It would start in 2017, when Super Mario Odyssey was released to the public. It was one of the most highly anticipated Mario titles, considering there hadn't been a sandbox-style game quite like it since Super Mario Sunshine from 2002, giving you more freedom to roam the various locations and collect whichever collectibles you want so you can progress, rather than beating linear levels from start to finish. But with the new game came new strategies that could break it. Almost 3 weeks after the game's release, the speedrunner Zinpars would accidentally phase right through a wall. Unsure as to what happened, Zen would post this clip along with other discoveries on Twitter. Eventually, this glitch would be replicated along with the setup to do it created by another user, RedlineSSB. This clip, known as a roll cancel clip, would be done by standing just a short distance away from a wall, ground pounding, then waiting half a second before performing a roll, followed almost immediately by pressing both Y and B, which would cancel your roll but keep your momentum. This trick would open up Pandora's box when it came to the stuff you could do with it. Many different spots would be found where you could use this glitch to clip through doors, walls, and pretty much almost anything you want. Though it would still be a bit difficult, it would give the people who knew the glitch an advantage, mostly for those who did speedruns of the game. Now fast forward to 2018. a new update would come to Mario Odyssey, which included a brand new mode that would make use of the Switch's online functionality, a little game known as Luigi's Balloon World. In it, players can choose where they want to hide a balloon in any of the available worlds, so other people can try to find your balloon and pop it. There's a time limit, meaning you only have so much time to hide the balloon. There'd be a ton of clever hiding spots, and some would even be a bit of a challenge to get to. And then there's the wall clipping. See, those that knew how to do a roll cancel clip would have a field day with this mode, as if people can't pop your balloon, you'll end up collecting coins because of it. As it just so happens, the majority of players couldn't figure out how to get to these spots, meaning the balloon hiders were cashing in on what seemed like impossible hiding locations. Since this strategy was rather niche, meaning most people who, for example, had just bought a Switch and tried this mode out would have no clue what was happening, the mood for Luigi's Balloon World would quickly sour. Independent journalists and electronic publications would cover the chaos that was happening, claiming that this glitch was destroying Mario Odyssey's new game mode. You'd figure with the outcry that would come from all this, Nintendo would do something to fix it. Well, that's the thing. They did. And it didn't work. Sort of. With the update for Luigi's Balloon World, there would also be fixes made to the game. This would prevent certain glitches from being possible, including some wall clips. However, this wouldn't prevent all the wall clips from working. Rather, it would only make it a bit harder in terms of the timing of the trick. As a matter of fact, it's still possible to do it in a number of spots today. But with this attempt of fixing it not having gone quite as people hoped it would, the speedrunners who would do offline runs of the game would breathe a sigh of relief. But the casual fans who played Luigi's Balloon World would continue to suffer with these hiding spots that would only eat up their coins if they couldn't reach it. As I mentioned earlier, you would see somewhat adjacent things to this happening with games in the past. The online mode in both Mario Kart DS and Wii, for example, would be annihilated later on in its lifespan by hackers either using cheat codes or other software modifications to grant them any item they want at any time. Some of the online lobbies for this would be abysmal to play, and the people playing Balloon World would share the same sentiment. Even though it wasn't a mod or hack, an exploit like this being used for personal gain against the CF competitors online, rather than for new exploration or experimentation, would be seen as an unfair advantage. I had thought of this glitch again not too long ago, and reminisced about the times I'd played this mode online with friends, even partaking in these clip hiding spots for fun with other like-minded glitch enthusiasts. Then I wondered how this online mode had fared since those days, whether or not people are still actively hiding the balloons in ridiculous spots. That's when I noticed something. Oddly enough, upon booting up Luigi's Balloon World, from the balloons I was trying to find, most of them were within the normal boundaries. There were a couple balloons with questionable hiding spots, and unless I was missing something, it seemed like those could only be popped by clipping through walls. But other than that, there were plenty of them that didn't involve anything that precise. It seems that since enough time has passed, the online mode has fixed itself, as the people playing the game today have mostly played it the way it was meant to be. Now this video is not an invitation to start hiding balloons in out-of-bounds spots again, but I find it fascinating how this issue seemed to have corrected itself over the course of time. I mean, I get it. You can only have fun with the minigame mode for so long before it becomes stale, so I guess it makes sense that the newer generation of Mario players would go back to the basics, possibly not even knowing that at one point, such a polarizing exploit existed. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, share your thoughts in the comments below. But with that being said, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and peace.